Lindsay Appleby, Person of Interest speech. "93 years ago, a very influential man was born, and that is when his incredible but tough adventure began. This man once stated, quote, 'The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall.' This quotation was said by the most prominent figure in South Africa's history, Nelson Mandela. This quotation is especially nostalgic to Nelson Mandela because according to NobelPrize.org in 1994, Nelson Mandela was incarcerated for 27 years before he became president of South Africa. Not only are his accomplishments well known, his early life and rough journey to the top is what captures the hearts of millions. Despite the hardships Nelson Mandela has encountered throughout his entire life, he still has left a lasting impression on the entire world and will remain one of the most memorable leaders of this century. Every journey must begin somewhere, and Nelson Mandela's began on July 18, 1918, when his parents welcomed him into the world in Transkei, South Africa. As mentioned on bio.truestory.com, last updated in 2011, once he turned 7 years old, Mandela had done something no one else in his family had ever done before, and that was attend school. Later, his father passed away when Mandela was 9 after a hard struggle with tuberculosis, but that didn't stop Nelson from further enhancing his education at a scholarly Westland school. He enrolled himself into an all-black school, the University College of Fort Hare. According to logicalthinker2.tripod.com, last updated on March 1st, 2000, Mandela never finished his Bachelor of Arts degree at Fort Hare due to the fact that he participated in a boycott against the university's policies, and from there was ordered to leave the school immediately. From then on, he kept getting involved in some major dilemmas, living up to his birth name, Rohala, meaning stirring up trouble. He continued this by joining the African National Congress in 1943. The ANC was created to unite Africans and establish a democratic form of government by protesting to show the racial equality that was happening throughout South Africa at the time. In 1949, the South African government established the apartheid rule, which meant that blacks or other ethnic groups couldn't move freely in their own country. Mandela disputed this, and so he participated in the National Day of Protest on June 26, 1950. This is where we first saw Mandela truly becoming an activist for the anti-apartheid policy and lending his voice in support to the cause. Even though it was incredible for Mandela to stand up for what he believed in, it put him into many complicated situations that affected the rest of his life. As recently stated on NobelPrize.org, because Mandela opposed the government apartheid rule, he was later arrested and sent to prison. Mandela acquitted this charge in 1961, but was still sentenced to 5 years of imprisonment, including hard labor. On June 12, 1964, 8 ANC members, including Nelson Mandela, were sentenced to life imprisonment. After being concealed for many years, Nelson Mandela had a long recovery before him once he was released from jail on February 11, 1990. He served 27 years in prison until he was released at the age of 72. Immediately after being freed from jail, Nelson Mandela wasted no time getting back into his activist clubs. 1 year after being released, he was elected the president of the ANC, and following that, in 1994, Nelson received one of the highest honors of a black man in South Africa at the time, and that was being elected president. After many years of hard work, dedication, and love for fighting for what is right, Nelson Mandela retired in 1999. As cited on NelsonMandela.org, last updated in 2011, Mandela, after retiring, later founded 3 new foundations all in his name: the Nelson Mandela Foundation, the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, and the Mandela Rhodes Scholarship. Undoubtedly, it has been a tough journey to get him where he is today, but because of his devotion to the South African people, he has greatly impacted the world. All of Mandela's experiences, whether they be good or bad, led him to many astounding achievements that are now being recognized throughout the world. As stated on NelsonMandela.com, some of his major awards and honors include the United Nations Human Rights Award. Mandela Day was declared a public holiday in Zimbabwe in 1990, and the Nobel Peace Prize given to him in 1993. While receiving the Nobel Peace Prize, Mandela also recognized those who put forth work and effort that had brought peace to his people and to all humanity. All the events Mandela experienced have created him the man that he is today and have led him to some extraordinary accomplishments. But he never could have dreamed about these accomplishments without the faith and support of people around the world. As you can tell, Nelson Mandela has definitely left a legacy for others to follow and to look up to because of the history of his early life, his participation in politics, and his accomplishments he has been honored with for his exemplary work and leadership. So after researching Nelson Mandela's journey through life, it shows that life is a climb. It comes with many obstacles, but it will all be worth it in the end if you give your whole heart, dedication, and love for your cause, just as Nelson Mandela did and continues to do today.